Hello and welcome to another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix of the Smoke Room. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free on itch.io. But if you want to support the people who make this game and or get the newest version earlier, you can go to their Patreon, where it's $3 a month. Not only this game, but quite a few others. So, on the last Let's Play, we bathed here a little bit, had a Devil's Triangle, which is a drinking game. That's a joke, that last part. And then had to wash ourselves again because it's not a drinking game. Anyways, don't look it up. Anyways, let's reset our face and continue. Oop. You think they're missing us? They haven't come looking for us yet. He smirks at me as he unbuttons his vest for buttons. I swear I can read. So, what's keeping us from enjoying ourselves just a little longer? You know very well we can't dawdle. If we're to leave for the settlement at dawn, we need all the rest we can get. True. And also, it's surprising that no one just came up on us. Oh, I heard a spooky noise, but it was actually an airplane. I've had a rough couple of days. The settlement will still be there by tomorrow, you know. I heard far off rustling in the bushes, underscored by a deep, rumbling laugh. My claws come out, but I see nothing come out from between the trees. Another voice joins in, this one even deeper. Sounds like Avery. Cliff looks like he's about to pipe up again, but we gesture for him to keep quiet. Come on, Jeb. What if someone sees? Been waiting too long to see you again. It's only been a week or two. Ho-ho. Seems like we're not the only ones active tonight. They're up to something for sure. You don't think they heard us, do you? They would have said something if they did. Wait around for a bit to see if the voices get closer, but they don't. I just hear more rustling. Hello? Shit! Cliff shoots an annoyed glance at Murdoch. The fox seems to shrug it off. Come on, Murdoch. We should either have talked earlier or just, skedaddled. We hear more rustling as Avery comes out from behind the tree, Jebediah right behind him. That's the second time I'd mistaken his antlers for branches. Well, fancy running into you folks here. Well, we did say they were going off to bathe. We were, just heading out to the spring for a couple of minutes. I can take you boys... I take all you boys are all finished up? You could say that. Water's nice and warm. I feel better already. That's so. Well, then, I suppose we'll follow by your example. He drags Jebediah down the path by a wrist. The horse looks a little startled. We'll see you at camp. Don't wait up for us. You folks have fun now. When it gets to camp, it's a fair bit less crowded than it was before we left. I think some folks already went to bed for the night. Though they won't get much sleep with this coyote trying to put his guitar out of its mercy. I don't know the first thing about musical instruments, but I know they ain't supposed to sound like that. It's even worse hearing it up close. And yet, I can't look away. It's like, you hear those things called cars? I hear that when they have accidents, you just can't look away. Good God. It's not too late to head back to the spring. Disturb Jebediah and Avery, no doubt, ruining their night. Or listen to this for one moment longer. Difficult choice. Strenuous activity will do that to you. Avery gave you that line? Murdoch shrugs, all too cocky grin plastered on his face. I'm surprised he still has the energy for it. I'm starting to get a little more than a little tired myself. Let's just sit down and have a drink. I'm quite parched. Area fellas are Reckon you drowned in the spring with how long you been gone. That sort of thing doesn't happen often, I hope. Only once or twice. That's once or twice too many. The fox's eyes flash as he sees the coyote strum a guitar, and one of his ears twitch. Well, hello there, Ed. What have you been up to? Just been plugging away. I swear this old thing is starting to lose its sound. It might be a little out of tune. More than a little, I'd say. Could you hand it over? I'll see what I can do. You play? I sneak in some practice where I can. A man after my own heart, I do say. Think you could help a fella out? Sure, hand it over. Cliff Knight watches Murdoch, takes the guitar, and proceeds to busy himself with it for the next half hour. Before long, it's starting to sound a little less offensive to my ears, and by the time Avery and Jebediah return, it sounds almost like a real instrument. Murdoch really does have a lot of talents. That'll do the trick. You fixed her right up, quick. Not a problem. Hopefully, she'll treat you better from now on. And our eardrums, too. Plenty of beer to go around for all of us, and then some. Not if you keep hogging it. When's the last time you've been sober? Shut your trap. The coyote scrambles off to the campfire, as though he didn't hear her, opening a crate of bottles, just like the one he was holding. Sorry, right now I'm just thinking of a video I did a long time ago in Red Dead Redemption 2, where I was the main character and there was an unlimited amount of booze and I just kept on drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking. But funny thing was, he walked like 5 paces to a building and he was sober. It's like, bugger. I smell the booze in the air. He thrusts one into my paw, then raises an eyebrow at Cliff. Oh, I don't. He gets a bottle too. He stares at it for a moment, studying it like it's some artifact he's never seen before. It's warm. Beggars can't be choosers. I uncork the bottle, sniffing the opening. Smells more like piss than beer. I take a sip. Yep, it's piss. Tastes even worse. Still, a drink is a drink. Good enough for me. Scene missing. Before long, we're all standing around the campfire. Yiska and Sela talk amongst themselves in the Meseta language. Avery interjects occasionally. The elk's gun arm wrapped around Jebediah, the horse leaning on his shoulder. He's reading a book, though his expression is distant. He hasn't flipped a single page in half an hour. Cliff stuck to me like a bad stain all evening. The weasel seems on the verge of falling asleep. Every now and then, he'll yawn loudly, like he's letting me know he's still alive. He looks cute when he does it. Ed and Murdoch seem to have become fast friends, though it might be the booze talking. And then he ran off. Never saw him again. Well, I wasn't paying attention to Murdoch's story. The coyote's laughter that follows is a lot harder to ignore. It gets more ingratiating every time. You've got to be shitting me. You sure know how to spin the tale. Well, when you work in a general store long enough, you hear enough stories from all sorts of people. Stories likened to some good ones, mostly bad ones, and many odd ones. So, what's your oddest? The fox whistles low and shakes his head. Most of them are bizarre or incoherent. There are the unusual stories about witches who climb onto your back and make you do wicked deeds well into the midnight hour. There are stories where every egg in a chicken coop will have bloody chicks in them despite the rooster being separated. Although, a few of the stories about the train tracks heading through Echo unnerve me. I wonder if this is connected to Leo's route and Echo. The game. Because, spoiler for that, I mean, let's see. What is the thing? I guess this would come before that. So I'm going to hold this mouse up here for spoilers, and when I move it away, that's when the spoilers end. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So in Echo, you're trying to get out of town, but you can't get out of town because if you drive one way, you just suddenly appear driving back at Echo. And after a whole bunch of stuff, you figure out the only way to get out of town is to hop the ghost train out of town. And that's how people get out of town, or at least you guys. Then for some reason people are still there and and are fine. I was gonna move this off the screen. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And welcome back, people who didn't want to hear the spoilers. The fox's paw jitters a bit, as if he wishes there was something in it to fiddle with. Then he goes still. But as far as where on earth is this going kind of tale? Well, I don't really get this one, but I'll share it all the same. The story goes, you have to be all alone in the middle of the desert, when the sun is hottest and highest in the sky. Cliff stirs next to me, eyes wide open. World of difference compared to the last campfire story Murdoch told him. You have to have no map, no water skins, no food, no nothing. Nothing but the clothes on your back, yeah? Murdoch cocks an eyebrow. That was the specific phrasing. You heard this one too, then? Keep going. Well, what comes next is that if you make it until dark without having a heat stroke, you'll get a crystal clear vision of the night sky. You'll be close to death, so close to death that you can see the light of the stars that were once there, which had long been snuffed out. And if you say hello to each and every one, then, if you did it right, you fall fast asleep. When you wake up, if you did it right, you'll see a red sky above you, and you have to search around a little more. And if you walk straight ahead without turning back once, you'll find a pole lodged in the sand. And tied to the top of that pole, there's a red sack. And if you open it up, the thing you need most will be inside of it. Money, the affection of an unrequited love, good health, and a long life. You name it. How's a truth like long life supposed to fit in a sack? I presume that it just happens, and there's nothing there. But it's a lie, so it's not like the original storyteller thought that through. Okay, Fox. But finding something like that sounds pretty good right now. The thin coyote whistles and slaps his shins. Damn, you got that down nearly word for word. Why do you look so pleased with that? Are you the person who made it up? No, but we know who did. Makes sense to me. Word of mouth must travel pretty quickly down these roads. But usually the words get a little mixed up. Like you hear that the sack is blue, or there's a feather attached or something. True enough, maybe I heard it from the source. If you did, he must have hated you. That would surprise me. I just presumed it was a joke told to pass time. I can't imagine anyone going off to do things unless they were kids. Nah, Larry used that story to try and get people killed. Sure has. Can guarantee it worked a couple of times too. Oh. Excuse me? Fucked up, ain't it? The gold in these hills never did tend to attract the best and brightest. Wait, gold? Huh, I didn't think it was gold mine. Most of the people who started coming around here near 50 years ago just wanted to make some money and make it quick. Still lots of them. Harry hates those types. Especially if they're immigrants. I doubt he thought I was foreign, considering my accent. The coyote strokes his wry whiskers, though I wonder if it means immigrants and means, not native. True. But you are a ginger. You've got a sly, emerald look about you, if you catch my drift. Emerald look? I mean, his eyes are green, but I don't know what that means. Yes, I think I do. Merrick's tone becomes considerably more formal. I can read! My point, more or less, is that most of these little fun bedtime stories aren't just for fun. Everything comes from somewhere, don't it? The fox just looks into the fire. I'm not surprised, really. There's a bit of fang to his smile, as his face glows in the light of embers. What other sorts of stories have you heard recently, then? He takes a swig of his bottle. Surprise isn't empty by this point. When you've been traveling to and from Echo, as long as I have, you hear people talk about all sorts of things. Of course, most of them are just tall tales meant to scare folk out of causing trouble, doing shit they're not supposed to. But there's usually a truth to them. People round these parts, around Echo, have seen everything. Such as things and people going missing, doors not leading where they're supposed to, voices whispering in the night. He wipes his muzzle on his sleeve, eyes darting around the fire, as if waiting for any of us to start asking questions any moment now. Impossible creatures appearing out of thin air. Folks say the land itself is cursed, abandoned by God and the devil alike. No man was ever supposed to be here or there. And when man ignores the warnings, does not listen, the land itself will drive him to the brink of sanity. Unable to trust, unable to recognize the faces of his brothers and sisters. Death follows you there, yours or someone else's. I feel a shiver run down my back, just like the one I felt when Gad unfurled the map in front of us. What was it you said about creatures? We've seen a creature too. What did it look like? I saw a man with rotten, singed flesh hanging from his bones, gasping for air. My friend here. He points to Yisha, the bear staring into the fire, the hand holding his bottle of beer, trembling a little when we turn our eyes to him. Says he saw a snake the size of a tree. The bear swallows. I was scared. And then I took Sheila. And then it took Sheila. He looks at his feet, muttering something under his breath. We all saw different things too. Your friends mentioned. It was more like a rat than anything. For me, it was a fox. I saw him. He clears his throat. I saw The stallion looks wary at the coyote before stopping himself. My old associate. Well, I saw. It was wearing his skin, his fur, and it talked like him, but it wasn't. It talked to you? The horse cast his eyes aside. It wasn't going to mention it when we talked to the Avery. No, wait, I wasn't going to mention it when I talked at Avery's folks. You can't talk about death. Dead people in them. He shakes his head and takes a swig of water. I find my eyes drawn to Cliff as an eerie feeling takes hold. What did it say? There was nothing you could have done. I know that, Ave. I knew it wasn't him, but it wasn't entirely truthful either. No, wait, I wasn't entirely truthful either. About the mud skipper? What? A mud skipper? No. The elk shakes his head, a somber expression appearing on his face. My parents would not have let us stay if I'd spoken the truth. He inhales deeply, his glasses light up a little in the dim glow of the fire. I saw my sister. Jebediah shakes his head of Avery's shoulder, turning so fast that his hat almost falls from his head. You gotta be shitting me. I wish I was. Your sister? Her name was Enola. She was 10 years younger than I was. She'd have been around 30 now, if she were still alive. What happened to her? One day, the men from the government came to her home and took her away. She had died there at the school, away from her mother, father, and me. Yeah, that stuff happened all the time. You don't hear about it so much in America, but, Canada tends to be a bit more open about it these days, where, Native American children were taken from their families to, teach the native out of them or something like that. And there was a lot of abuse happening, all sorts of it, and a lot of children died and were just put in unmarked graves, and nobody was told about it. The families just never saw them again. Every Masetta child was to be taught at a boarding school in the settlements. That is what they decided upon. Why? To eat your people's food, learn their stories, sing their songs, praise their God. I had moved to Jim's family's ranch by then, but my parents told me what happened. She went to that school building healthy and happy, and came back out in a shroud. My father wanted her body so he could bury her properly, but he was turned away. They had guns. I tried to take it up with the state capitol, but they probably already knew and didn't care. Most of what happens in that place isn't really a secret. He opens his mouth to speak, but in the end goes quiet. Awful, and not surprising. Scary stories are well and good, but the real things happening in the world every day, you are usually worse. Scary stories, but the real things happening in the world every day, you are usually worse. I'm just going to print that because that doesn't make sense. Because it could be a typo. Oop. Let's check my face while I'm at it. Pretty good still. It's the first time I thought about her in a long while, to be honest. To think some spirit would be wearing her face. Well, something... We still have no idea what we actually saw. I have a speculation, but it might be far-fetched. Which would be... Have you ever heard of dancing mania? I've heard of that. Can't say I have. The others, save for Avery, shake their head as well. It's a quite fascinating phenomenon, really. A long time ago, back in Europa, in the Middle Ages. This isn't going to be some sort of fairy tale, is it? The weasel raises a hand. Let me finish. As I was saying, there was this mysterious outbreaks of groups of people numbering in the thousands, all breaking out in dance and song, as if possessed. It spread from person to person. Nobody knew if it was disease or something beyond our comprehension. Victims would hallucinate, convulse. They'd continue dancing until they collapsed of fatigue. Some did not survive. That all actually happened? It did, yes. More modern theories suggest that victims suffered from an altered state of mind, the world's first case of mass hysteria. So let me get this straight. You put the lime in the coconut? Sorry. Are you saying there's some sort of hallucination that we're all experiencing together? That we're all going insane? But nobody has convulsion symptoms. But there's some similar disease. But there could be some similar disease. Like I said, it's a speculation. I'm not entirely certain. Being a big yacht, sorry. What I'm certain of is that we've been experiencing things that don't seem natural in the least. The forest changed around us. We witnessed our worst fears and regrets quite literally come to life right before our eyes. How else would you explain these things? Surely you don't believe the land is actually cursed. Something comes to mind. I don't know if what Cliff's saying is true, if what Ed's saying is true, but I do know there's something seriously wrong with Echo either way. Here's the thing. So Echo and the game and Arches and the Smoke Room are all in the same universe. Yeah, and Adastra and Terra and Camilla is, of course, in the same universe because it's the same characters. But I wonder if, like, the entire Echo project might be in the same universe. I kind of wonder that. Like, in Adastra, it's like one species per universe kind of thing. I don't know. But there is, in Adastra, there's this whole thing about the other, the kind of darkness between spaces, which, you know, it barely touches upon, but it does appear in but does seem to appear in Echo. Because there's some bad here. Anyways, curse or not. Sorry. The circle. Remember what we saw at the Hoedown? Right, the map. It's clear to me that Avery's family line had some idea about it. Maybe some of the other Meseta might as well. At least enough to stay away from Echo. With an entire forest between them. I just hope whatever it is didn't follow us all the way here. A silence between us that follows is so stifling that the sound of the crickets becomes deafening by comparison. A coyote sitting on the other side of the fire clears his throat. At this point, it's clear he's had more than a few too many drinks, but none of us are in any mood to make a fuss about it. Seems like you boys have been through a lot. Cliff nods somberly. The distant look he had in his eye when we were at our old campsite comes back for a moment. I've seen more strange things over the past 2 days than I think I've seen in a lifetime. Sounds like you've earned a little rest then. I'm inclined to agree. How about a little song and dance to lighten the mood? The stone lightens up at the mention of song. Not just him. There's a wave of relief washing over our little circle. Something else to occupy our minds. That sounds splendid, although I'm afraid we don't have any instruments. My guitar didn't quite make it the trip. It's all good. Got a perfectly fine one right here. Some other fine musicians, too. The old coyote points behind him with a thumb. Then he turns his head, spitting the tobacco he was chewing into the bowl sitting at his feet. You know how to play? I already told you that I did. Hand me the guitar. Got a good song in mind, too. Want me to give it a try? I think he's just hesitant to give it back to him. You know any songs? Only a couple raunchy ones. You really are a keeper. Got a couple of other musicians with us today who might be willing to join. Wouldn't disturb the people currently in their tents. The coyote waves him off. They've heard worse. Well, if you say so. Fancy dance, Samuel? In front of these people? You'll be all right. I'll lead. That's not what I'm worried about. I know just the song. Heavens, I've been looking forward to this.
Wind rocks the desert night, the summer sand, natural things, naturally, what frontiersmen should understand. And nothing's more natural than knowing how to move. Here's a tune about an ache that we can soothe. Let's reenact a snappy scene that duds might find mundane, about a pair of partners who hit up and missed their train. One grabbed the other's wrist and asked him, buy a man some hooch. Of course the other said, we'll slide you another working pooch. He tossed and taps a shoulder blade as temperance flies the coop. Then eyes meet eyes and glass meets glass as whiskers start to droop. Well, if you're feeling spry and gay, I think you know what's next. Lock eye to eye and elbows hooked and keep your partner flexed. Wet your whistle, quench your thirst, though it be hard to see. Having vice ain't always nice, but hey, at least you're free. Now take a dip and hook his hip, remind me of that scene where words pass lips between the sips and somewhere rather mean. But hey, they're pressed in closer, hey, their courage bloomed, and hey, they're taking wagers, boasting over which their manhood loomed. Though thigh to thigh and pockets frisked, he grabbed his partner's wrist. Got a different kind of drink for you, I simply must insist. Now my mind grows foggy as those spirits fade. Look now how morning light is seizing our charade. Ruffled slacks, sweaty backs, all about the floor. Revel quietly as others about you snore. Lock gazes and think upon my scene. You may find the things they hadn't yet and thoughts between. Lovers light, morning dark, and everything you know. There's many locks and keys as you allow.
Oh, I love that. Can't believe you made me dance. Can't believe what we did a moments ago. Got a lot left to teach you, Professor. We'll have time. He rests his head on my chest, and content sigh escapes him. Nice. Well, that's gonna be the end of this Let's Play. Please comment, cause I like comments. Tell me what you like, dislike, tips, exercise. If you like my YouTube and like to see it grow, then please like, subscribe, and share the videos that have grown. Please remember spading your animals to help control the pit population. Okay. But we're gonna roll back, cause, yeah, always good to start on another chapter. But God, that was a good thing right there. That's also, is that William's voice? Not sure. I wouldn't be sure if they're like, okay, we need something that would sing, but also would sound like William, or they're just like, let's have somebody that can sing. It sounds a little westerny, you know? Anyways, did I say comment and all that stuff? Yes, Baby Ramos. If you want to play this game, it's for free on itch.io, but if you want to support people that make this game and or get the news version earlier, you can go to Patreon. And until next time, let's wait. Me, GamerWolfSix, The Smoke Room, a game that has some good honkin' tonkin' hoedowns and hootenannies. So thanks and see ya.